All right, Chapter 10 of the How to Sell Homes Fast for Top Dollar. As we come through here, Chapter 10, Learning from Others' Mistakes. So there are several stories here, mistakes for you to learn from, some horror stories, things that you don't want to do. So I'm not going to go through and tell you those because you can read them, but there is a story that I do want to tell you. I just heard this yesterday. A gentleman who is a real estate investor wanted to buy a property, and it wasn't just a normal home like you or I would buy or sell, but this was a series of, it's like a multi-family unit, had several apartments in it, and he built a relationship with the owner and offered to buy it several times, but the seller kept turning him down. And finally, one day, after about 9-10 months, the seller called him up and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling that property, but I want the fair market value. I want the value that other similar properties in this area would go for." So the seller paid for an appraisal, had one done, and for whatever reason, the appraisal was way less than the fair market value, way less than the investor expected to pay. Obviously, which was good for the investor. He wanted to buy the property for a lower price so that he could fix it up, do whatever he needed to do, and make his profit on it. But when the seller told him that, he thought, well, probably won't be able to buy it, but I'll go ahead and wait for the offer to come in. So when the appraiser did his work and gave the paperwork to the owner, and the owner sent it over to the real estate investor, and he saw the price, he was shocked, surprised, pleasantly so, and he went ahead and bought the properties. So the moral of the story here is just that the seller in this case lost out on money because it was underpriced. It wasn't his fault. He did have an appraisal done, but the appraisal was wrong. So if you're selling your property, the moral of the story is just do your due diligence. Don't just go off of hearsay, what other people tell you, even what I tell you. Do your due diligence. It's your home, your property. So this is your money that you're dealing with. You want to make sure that you do your due diligence, follow up, talk with different people, make sure that you understand the market and what's going on, and you aren't just deferring your responsibility as a homeowner on to other people. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's what we're trying to do here. That's the purpose of all of the information here in this book, these stories, mistakes that other people made, is so that you learn from them, you understand the home selling process, and you get the best deal possible for you. Obviously, it has to be win-win for everybody. Can't be just for you, of course. It's got to be a win-win for the buyer as well. But that's where the idea of the fair market value comes in. It's what other properties are selling for. And of course, the actual price of the house is what it sold for. So if you're willing to take less, if the buyer's willing to pay more, obviously there has to be that agreement. But if you want to sell your home for top dollar, get the most out of it, and you just want to make sure that you're doing your part to make that happen. So I hope you're enjoying this. Go ahead, read the rest of the chapter, read the stories there, and ask me your question. And of course, leave a comment below telling us your stories. And I will see you in the next section.